XRP, we start with 1 hour chart. We want to see how we can look for trade. First of all, if you refer to our analysis in my last video, if I move to forward chart, we mentioned that whatever the move we have here is a correction relative to this. We mentioned we can expect the price to drop. That's why we talk about the different possibility. And one of them was we point on this flat. And even we mentioned if the price continue and give us one move up, mostly at the end, we can expect the price to drop. Okay, that's why I mentioned we are looking for the flat internal correction relative to this, and exactly this is what we get. Now, want to see what's the next. First things, we move to daily chart. As we can see, based on daily chart, almost the price is at the lowest if we refer to this correction. And even if we move to refer to this move, the price broke the previous low based on this move. We are not talking about the overall. Okay, now first things I need to highlight, even I mentioned, we need to see the breakout of the correction to see the next move. And the best things, what I prefer, if the price can confirm the breakout of this correction, then from there, any reversal for long term, we can look for buy. Okay, but the price almost tagged the lowest price. Now the question is whether we should put this one where the price is as a support, or we need to consider about this, the previous low. Okay, then what I can consider, I can highlight here, if we want to see the breakout of this one, that's when the price drop, at least we need to see the breakout of the low, this shadow. Because even if he wants to put this move in relative to this one needs to turn to a deeper before we confirm the breakout of this correction. Okay, that's mean the overall we need to see the correct breakout of this correction. The price, if the price turn to a deeper move, any reversal we can look for long term. That's mean we can look for long term buy. This is how we can look at the. Technically we can look at the chart. It doesn't mean the price cannot reverse from here. Now the question is whether we should look for buy from now or wait for the breakout of the previous low. For me, from now, if I get any trade set up for buy based on lower time frame, I will take the trade. If it move in my direction, I keep the trade. If not, I will take out the trade. That means I'm not going to buy and keep for the long term. I will trade it until I see the breakout, either from the top, and if the price drop, you're not going to look for buy. Wait for the confirmation before we look for the reversal. Anyway, as I mentioned, if we put this low in relative to the previous one, if we refer to the indicators, we see we have a divergence. This is the first things we need to bear in mind. Okay, that's why from now we can look for buy if we get a trade set up. And if we move to forward chart, we want to see what we have. If we look at this move as the first correction and the third, if we put this low relative to the previous one, do we have a divergence? Yes, based on MACD. And another indicators, still we have a divergence. Still we can consider, we have a divergence unless we see the continuation. That's mean from now, if we can call this one as ABC from what we have right now. If there is a continuation, the divergence can disappear. We cannot confirm right now. That's mean we cannot look for buy right now. That's why we need to look for the trade setup. Okay, whether we should buy right now or not, what I see here, it doesn't give me any trade setup for buy. And mostly when we see this kind of the move, we can expect the price to drop and even become deeper move. Okay, that's why right now we cannot look for buy unless we get the trade setup. Okay, and I need to highlight again, it doesn't mean the price cannot reverse as a sharp move, but we're talking whether we can look for the trade setup or not. Okay, and what I can see here, even if this one turned to a deeper move, it can give us better confirmation for the price to drop. Whether we should look for sell or not, we'll say, if we want to look for sell, we're selling at the lowest price of the bigger correction, which is not really good idea. Okay. And mostly we're looking for buy, but based on forward chart, we don't see any trade setup for buy. And how about if I move to 1 hour chart? First things, we don't have the trade setup. And even if we want to look for this one as a trade setup for buy within this correction, having entry above the top can be an option, but it's really risky. Simply the price can take and drop. That's why I won't suggest it, because if the price continue from here as a corrective move, we can expect correction similar in relative to this, and the price can continue. Then how we can look for trade? Either we see the sharp move flag, we take the trade, or we see the price drop some more with the breakout of this low. As long as the price haven't broke the previous low, the biggest one, that's mean as long as the price haven't broke the 77 0.77, then if you get any reversal for buy, we'll take it, and mostly based on 15 minutes. within this range. Okay, that means if I move to 15 minutes, I'm talking about the second option, how we can look for trade. That means we're looking at this one, and either from here the price move higher or the price drop from here. If we get one more drop with the breakout of this low, we look at the internal flat. Any reversal as a sharp move flag within this range. If we get, we take the trade. And with the breakout of this top, we start to manage. Mostly we cannot, I'm sure we cannot get a really good trade setup. Then it depends on the traders, but we just follow it. I mean, we just monitor the chart. If we get, we can look for buy. The reason is, as I mentioned, based on higher time frame, we're looking for buy. If we get any trade setup from now, we will take the trade in case the price can reverse. Okay, but how to look for trade? Right now, the only thing is we're looking at this correction, and we put our stop loss at the 77. Because if there is any reversal in terms of the risk and reward, it can give us a really good trade setup. A really good trade, not the trade setup. But how to look for trade? As I mentioned, still we don't have the really, trade setup. How to look for trade? The only way we mention is either we wait for the next sharp move flag as a sharp move, not the corrective move. And even if we get any trade setup with a sharp move flag, how we can look for trade? We see the sharp move flag, then we put our entry above the top. If there is a continuation, we will be in the trade. And if the trade, it didn't move. If it moved in our direction, it's good. But if it didn't move into our direction, within 2 to 4 hours, we are not going to keep the trade. We take out the trade. This is the only way we can look for trade. Or similar what I explained here, based on 15 minutes, if we get this one more drop with the breakout of the previous low, any reversal within this range, we can look for trade, either 15 or 5 minutes. It depends on the traders. But 1 hour chart, we cannot look for trade. Okay, anyway, we don't have any really good trade setup, and right now for me, I'm looking at this. I want to see whether this one can consider as a correction to look for trade or not. Okay, and even if this one, as I mentioned, based on 15 minutes, we get one more drop, that means the price dropped somewhere around 78. We can put our entry above the top. But right now, as long as the price haven't tagged the 78 cent, putting an entry above the top is not really good idea. Okay, anyway, we just follow the chart. It depends on the traders how they can, the strategy they're looking for. They're using. It depends on them. But for me to look for trade, as I mentioned, I'm looking at this correction, and I just explained how we can look for the trade, different possibility. Okay, the reason is based on daily chart. If we get any, as we can see, the price almost at the lowest, and if we get any reversal, we will take the trade. Okay, but buying right now without the trade setup, I won't suggest it. And even if we get any trade setup, it depends on the strategy the traders they use. If it doesn't move in within 2 to 4 hours, the best thing is we shouldn't keep the trade. We can take out the trade, and from there we look for the next opportunity. Anyway, we just follow the chart. If I see any update, I will share. Thanks.